In this class, let us discuss a useful theorem in the calculation of moment of inertia, parallel axis theorem. The idea of this theorem is that we have consider a rigid body. We want to calculate the moment of inertia of this rigid body about some axis. Okay. Then this can be easily calculated if we know the moment of inertia of this body about a parallel axis passing through the center of mass of the body. Okay, we want to calculate the moment of inertia of the body about some axis. Let us say this moment of inertia is, let us say, um, okay, I will draw a diagram. Suppose we have a rigid body like this. Okay, we want to calculate the moment of inertia of this body about this axis. Okay. Let us assume that it's z axis. Okay, so we want to calculate the moment of inertia of this body about z axis. Say this moment of inertia, value of this moment of inertia is I. Suppose this point is the center of mass of the body, and suppose we know the moment of inertia of the same body about a parallel axis passing through the center of mass of the body. Suppose this moment of inertia is I0. Okay. And so these two axes, z axis and this axis passing through the center of mass, are parallel to each other, and the distance between them, let us say this is a. This is the distance between these two parallel axes. Okay, it's the perpendicular distance between these two parallel axes. Then the parallel axis theorem says that the moment of inertia of the body about the axis, z axis, let us say, uh, or about whatever axis that we want to calculate, is equal to moment of inertia of the body about a parallel axis passing through the center of mass plus the product of total mass of the body and the square of the distance between the two parallel axes. This is parallel axis theorem. Okay, moment of inertia of the body about an axis which we call z axis, but it can be any axis, about some axis is equal to moment of inertia of the body about a parallel axis passing through the center of mass plus the product of total mass of the body and the square of the distance between the two parallel axes. Okay, let us try to prove this theorem. For this, let me consider a particle on the body. Let us say the jth particle. Okay. Now this particle is at a distance, at a perpendicular distance, let us say rho j from the z-axis, or from the axis about which we want to calculate the moment of inertia. And suppose this jth particle has a mass mj. Then what is the moment of inertia of the body about the z-axis? It is sum over j mj rho j square. Right? This is the original definition of moment of inertia of a body, of a rigid body. Okay, moment of inertia about an axis is equal to summation over all particles into mass of the each particle into square of the perpendicular distance from the axis. Right. Now, so let us come back to this same particle of mass mj. Its perpendicular distance from this axis passing through the center of mass, let us call it rho j prime. Okay, I am calling this equation as equation 1. So this mj particle, this particle of mass mj, its a perpendicular distance from the z-axis is rho j. Similarly, its perpendicular distance from the parallel axis passing through the center of mass is rho j prime. Now from this figure we can see that this rho j is equal to rho j prime plus a, correct? This is rho j, the perpendicular distance from the jth particle from the axis, z axis, or the axis about which we want to calculate the moment of inertia, and that's equal to rho perpendicular distance to the center of mass axis, which is rho j prime, plus the distance between the two axes a. Okay, we can write this as a vector equation. So rho j is equal to rho j prime plus a. Okay, so let us call it equation 2. Let me substitute this equation 2 in equation 1. Therefore, moment of inertia about the z-axis is summation over j mj rho j square. Now rho j square is simply rho j dot rho j. So therefore I can write this as rho j prime plus vector a dot rho j prime plus vector a. Here we have used the idea that this rho j square is simply rho j plus dot rho j dot rho j. Square of a vector is dot product of the vector with itself. Okay, so and then we substituted for rho j from equation 2, that is rho j plus a, rho j dot plus a, rho j dash plus a dot rho j dash plus a. We need to expand this. Okay. So we get summation over j mj. So there will be 4 terms in this dot product. We get rho j prime dot rho j prime, which will be rho j prime square. Okay, so the first term will be rho j prime square plus, then there will be rho j prime dot a plus a dot rho j prime. Since dot product is commutative, a dot rho j prime is same as rho j prime dot a. Okay, so there will be 2 terms with rho j prime dot a. So we have next term is 2 vector rho j prime dot vector a plus, and the last term will be a dot a, which is a square. So we can express this as, let's open the bracket, we can express this as 3 terms mj rho j prime square plus 2 times summation over j mj rho j dot a plus summation over j last term is mj a square. Okay, we have 3 terms here. Let's call it equation 3. Okay, among these 3 terms, look at the first term. What is this term? Summation over j mj rho j prime square. What is rho j prime? Rho j prime is the perpendicular distance of the jth particle from the axis passing through the center of mass. Okay, so what is this term? Summation over j mj, this term summation over j mj rho j prime square. This will be the moment of inertia of the body about this axis passing through the center of mass. Okay, so we can write the first term is simply I0, summation over j mj rho j prime square. This is I0. Let me call this as equation 4. Okay, let us look at the second term. In the second term, let us consider, okay, this a dot a, this is a constant vector. Okay, so it's independent of the summation over all the particles. For all, even though we sum over all the particles, this vector will not change. It's a vector between the 2 axes. It's a constant vector. So we can move it outside the summation symbol. So this term is essentially summation over j. Okay, we can write this term, rewrite this term simply as summation over j mj rho j dot vector a. Okay, summation is applicable to this mj rho j. So let us look at this term. What is this term? Summation over j mj rho j, vector rho j. Yeah, I think it is rho j prime, right? I forgot to add a prime here. So in this equation there should be prime, this equation also there should be prime. So mj rho j prime. Because in the dot product we have rho j prime plus a dot rho j prime plus a. So it should be rho j prime here. So what is this term mj rho j prime? Summation over j mj rho j prime. Let's come back to equation 2. From this we can write rho j prime is equal to vector rho j minus vector a, right? So let us rewrite this as summation over j mj vector rho j minus vector a. Okay. So we have another term here. So I will write this as summation over j mj rho j minus summation over j mj into vector a. But vector a is a constant vector. So it's basically summation over j mj. What is summation over j mj? Total mass of the body. So m into a. That's this term. Okay. So this is our yeah. So the next equation is this. So let's call it equation 5. What is the summation over j mj rho j? That's what we want to find out. Let's consider the definition of center of mass here. What is the definition of center of mass? Suppose we have this body, um, and we have some. Okay, this is our body. This is the center of mass of the body. Okay. So what is the idea of center of mass? If you consider um, some origin here, okay, and if you take each particle of the body of mass mj, which is at a position vector from the origin is, let us say, rj, okay, and suppose we evaluate this quantity summation over j mj rj, moment of each mass, each particle, moment of each mass from the origin of the coordinate system. Then this can be written as if the total, we can assume that the center of mass is a point at which the total mass of the body is assumed to be focused. Let's say the total mass is concentrated at this point. It's a supposition. It's not the actual situation. And the position vector of the center of mass, let us say it is capital R. Then this quantity summation over j mj rj, this quantity which we call the moment of each mass about the origin, this we can rewrite as summation of which we can rewrite as total mass into position vector of the center of mass. This equation can be considered as the definition of center of mass. Okay, the sum of the moment of all particles, all the masses in a body is equal to total mass of the body into or equal to the moment of the center of mass, we can say, equal to the total mass multiplied by position vector of the center of mass. So the idea is that we can consider this point center of mass as the point at which the total, as if the total mass of the body were concentrated at that point. So instead of calculating the moment of the entire body by summing over all the particles, summing over moment of each particle about the origin, what we can do is we can simply take the moment of the center of mass. Okay, this is the moment of the center of mass. Okay, so this is the general definition of the center of mass about any origin. Now here in this particular case, let us assume that we have chosen the coordinate system in such a way that the origin lies in along the z axis. Origin lies at somewhere along the z axis. Let us say origin is at this point. Okay, let's assume that the origin is exactly at this point. Consider this point as the origin, which is lying along the z axis, the axis about which we want to calculate the moment of inertia of the body. Okay, then what is the position vector of the center of mass? Position vector of the center of mass is vector r, is nothing but the perpendicular vector from the origin to the center of mass. We can say perpendicular vector from the axis to the center of mass. Okay, if I am choosing the origin at this point, okay, therefore the position vector of the, okay, let's don't consider it like that. Okay, so this is the position vector of the center of mass now, if this is our origin, correct? So let's come back to this equation. Yeah, okay, let's come back to this equation. Okay, so moment of each mass is equal to moment of the center of mass. Suppose okay, suppose in this equation, if we take the perpendicular component on both sides, the idea being that let us assume that there is an axis passing through this origin that we have chosen. Okay, and instead of taking the position vector of each particle about this origin, let us take the perpendicular vector of each particle about the axis. Okay, that means if you take the perpendicular component on both sides of this equation will be something like summation over j mj, let us say rho j, perpendicular distance from the axis is rho j, that's equal to m r perpendicular, where r perpendicular is the perpendicular vector of the center of mass from the axis. Okay, now consider, coming back to here, if our origin we are choosing in such a way that this origin is lying along the z axis, okay, here we have chosen the origin, and then if we apply this equation, okay, then what is the equation? Summation over j mj rho j is equal to m r perpendicular. What is r perpendicular? R perpendicular is the perpendicular vector from this axis to the center of mass. So let me write this as r perpendicular. Now from the figure it is clear that this r perpendicular is nothing but this a. Okay, so here I can rewrite this as summation over j mj rho j is equal to capital M into, instead of r perpendicular, simply write vector I. These are the same from the figure. So let us call it as equation 6. Okay. Now if we substitute this equation 6 in equation 5, your equation 5 becomes, equation 5 can be rewritten as summation over j mj rho j prime is equal to, instead of mj rho j we can write as capital M into vector A minus capital M into vector A, and this is 0. Call it equation 7. Okay, so this term has become 0. Now coming back to equation 3, the first term here in equation 3 is nothing but moment of inertia about the axis passing through the center of mass, about this axis I0. And this term, we have shown that this term, the moment, this is basically the moment of each particle about the axis passing through the center of mass. Okay, it's a moment of each particle about the axis passing through the center of mass, and this term is turned out to be 0, that from the definition of the center of mass. And what is the last term? Last term is here summation is applicable only for this mj. So summation over j, mj is nothing but capital M. Okay, so in equation 3, if you look at equation 3 now, look at equation 3. Left hand side is I, moment of inertia about this z axis, and the first term on the right hand side is, according to equation 4, this first term is nothing but I0. Okay, so we get I is equal to I0 plus, and look at the last term, second term. Okay, second term has become 0 according to equation 7, right? Mj rho j prime is equal to 0, and the last term is summation over j mj, which is capital M. So we have capital M a square. This is the proof. Okay, so once again coming back to the theorem, moment of inertia of a rigid body about any axis is equal to, and this general axis we simply call z axis. So this is equal to moment of inertia of the same body about a parallel axis passing through the center of mass. Okay, that is I0 plus the total mass of the body, the product of the total mass of the body and the square of the distance between the two axes. This is called parallel axis theorem. So what is the applicability of this parallel axis theorem? Let us look at a few examples. As first case, we have considered the moment of inertia of a rod about a perpendicular axis passing through its middle. Okay, so this rod has a total mass m, length L. So this perpendicular axis passing through the middle, this middle point is nothing but the center of mass. So this moment of inertia we can call I0. We have calculated this quantity, which is 1 by 12 ml square. Now moment of inertia about an axis passing through one end of the rod, let us call it I. So if these two axes are parallel, so according to parallel axis theorem, if you know the moment of inertia about a parallel axis passing through the center of mass, okay, then the moment of inertia about this new axis, parallel axis, can be calculated. How can we calculate that? What is the perpendicular distance between the two? Let us call it L by 2. This is nothing but L by 2. So I is equal to I0 plus m a square, but this a is nothing but L by 2 square. So that's equal to, what is I0? 1 by 12 ml square, and this term will be 1 by 4 ml square. If you take the LCM, what you get is 1 by 3 ml square. And remember that this quantity we have separately calculated in the previous class. Moment of inertia of a rod about an axis passing through one end, we have separately calculated using directly integrating. It was 1 by 3 ml square. But if you use the parallel axis theorem, this can be easily calculated. And consider one more example. We have calculated the moment of inertia of a disc about a perpendicular axis passing through its center. And for a disc, the center of mass is at the center of the disc. Okay, so this moment of inertia we can call I0. What was the value? Mr square by 2, so half mr square. If we know this, we can calculate the moment of inertia of a parallel axis passing through the edge of the disc. What is the perpendicular distance between the two axes? It's nothing but the radius of the disc. Okay, total mass of the disc is m, radius is r. So what is the moment of inertia? I0 plus a square. A is nothing but r here, so mr square. What is I0? Half mr square plus mr square. So this is nothing but 3 by 2 mr square. So in this way, if you know the moment of inertia of a body, of a rigid body, about an axis passing through its center of mass, then we can easily calculate the moment of inertia about any parallel axis using this parallel axis theorem. That's the applicability of this theorem. Okay, I is equal to I0 plus ma square, where a is the distance between the two parallel axes and m is the total mass of the body. Okay, so you can also find out more examples of applying parallel axis theorem from the in the cases of the different moment of inertia of different objects that we have calculated about different axes. So that's all about today's class.